Gunmen kill bus driver, kidnap passengers, abandon little girl along Ondo-Ekiti highway. FCT police arrest pastor, 2 others for alleged child trafficking, rescue 12 children. Mechanics, artisans decry falling patronage amidst cost of living crisis. And on the international scene, Hungarian president resigns after child abuser pardon controversy. Many thanks for joining us on the News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. We begin tonight's bulletin with some distressing news that suspected kidnappers on Saturday morning reportedly hijacked GUO motors, killing a commercial driver and abducting passengers while a young baby was left stranded, reportedly along the Ondo-Ekiti highway. It was learned that the passengers boarded a bus from Lagos and were on their way to Abuja when the kidnappers suddenly emerged from the bush at a village in Ondo State, shooting sporadically. Reports say the driver, who sensed their presence and tried to maneuver his way through, was immediately shot dead at close range. Meanwhile, police operatives from the Ondo State Police Command Anti-Kidnapping Squad are said to have moved to the scene immediately they got the information. Several operatives were said to have combed the bush in a move to rescue the victims and apprehend the perpetrators. The attack has attracted angry reactions from Nigerians who also shared the same belief that if there is a law on self-defense and residents can carry arms, the kidnapping monster would certainly be tamed.
The guy won turn.
Maybe they come for Lagos. I don't know where they come from.
No, they come for Lagos. All of us eat for that place now.
Okay, Papure.
Yeah. All of us eat there. See this small girl now. Okay, they come out the father. Yeah. Okay, for inside this bus. Now only they now. Ah! They don't kill the driver. Yeah. If again, they are abandoned.
You don't even come now, they're not convinced.
My concern is this small girl first.
Yes.
My concern, why is the driver?
The driver is dead now. Look at the driver on the steering.
The second driver.
And the driver with that. See the driver. My God.
Still staying with the sad abduction incident involving the GUA motors, the commander of the Ondo State Amotekun Corps, Akugwadile, has shed more light on the kidnap incident along Ayere-Akunu Road, where a little girl and the lifeless body of a driver was found inside a vehicle. Well, in the statement on Saturday, Adeleye said investigation revealed that it was a case of suspected kidnap involving a commercial vehicle and a private car. The suspected kidnappers, according to Adeleye, came in a military camouflage from Kogi State to carry out the dastardly act. He said the kidnap took place 1 kilometer away from Ayere outside Akunu at the border town of Kogi State, adding that immediately the kidnappers carried out their devilish act, they fled with the 6 victims back to Kogi State. He debunked insinuations that the incident took place in Ondo State, adding that it took place at the border town of Kogi State. And meanwhile, operatives of the Police Force Intelligence Bureau as well as Intelligence Response Team, FIBIRT, have eliminated some kidnappers, including a kingpin identified as Musa Wada Sabu Magaji in an operation conducted along the Mpape area of Abuja. A statement from the Force Public Relations Officer Olu Muyiwa Adijobi said the team also destroyed the camps of the dreaded kidnappers who have been a thorn in the flesh of Abuja residents in recent times. According to Adejobi, the armed bandits engaged the police operatives in a gun battle that lasted for about 30 minutes, which left many of the bandits fatally injured, while one of the police operatives sustained bullet wounds. The PPRO noted that this follows the neutralization of Abubakar Wada, an associate of Musa Wada, on February 8, 2024, who served as a lead to their hideout. Musa Wada, aka Sabo, was the mastermind behind numerous kidnappings for ransom activities plaguing Mpape and Buari in the Federal Capital Territory, Gagarko in Kaduna State, Masaka and Nunkum village in Nasarawa State as well. He said items recovered from the hideouts include mobile phones, multiple SIM cards, charms and other talisman, and hard drugs, which are crucial pieces of evidence aiding ongoing negotiations and investigations, rather. Also, families of the kidnapped bride with 63 wedding guests from Gamji village of Sabwa local government area of Katsina State have resorted to prayers for divine intervention. This follows the resolve by the state government not to negotiate or pay ransom to secure the release of the captives. The government instead reassured of its commitment to rescuing the victims unhurt. Well, Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi has more on the details.
The video released by the bandits threatening to remarry off the bride to one of their own and the remaining women among the abductees if they fail to pay 100 million naira ransom has left residents of Gamji village, especially their immediate families, shaken. The horrible condition of their loved ones in captivity is what they frequently talked about, but unwilling to talk to strangers for the fear of the unknown. Residents are looking disturbed, confused, and traumatized by the shocking video, saying they are helpless. Though Gamji is a farming community, but 100 million naira appears too much for the residents to bear, hence the compassionate appeal to relevant authorities to assist. When the driver came in the evening, I, as the grandfather of the bride, insisted that the journey should be abandoned till the next morning due to insecurity. But he said we should pray for him and the rest of his passengers and promised to follow routes considered safer. I even offered to pay additional 10,000 naira should he postpone the journey until the next morning. But he insisted on going. Now, this is where we are. Well, I'm still appealing to the government to look into our plight and do something about our loved ones in the hands of bandits. I'm the elder brother of the bride. I know how we feel. It is terrible. Just put yourself in our shoes. Maybe you will understand our conditions. We can't eat. We can't sleep. All as a result of this abduction. This lady was among the abductees, but later escaped after 3 days in captivity. She said that the situation there is horrible and against what was shown in the video. According to her, victims are beaten mercilessly and humiliated daily with little or nothing to eat. However, the Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Nasarawa Musa, in a telephone conversation with Trust TV in Katsina recently, said the state government will neither negotiate nor pay ransom to bandits. He further pointed out that frantic efforts to rescue the victims unhurt is ongoing, calling on Gamji residents to exercise patience. Public affairs commentators in Katsina said there is rays of hope from the recent rescue operations carried out by security operatives in Katsina, calling for more synergy to end banditry. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And still on security, operatives of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Police Command, have apprehended one Pastor Simon Kado and two others for allegedly trafficking 12 persons from Nasarawa State. The FCT Police Commissioner Bennett Igwe, who paraded the suspects in Abuja, said the suspects were arrested by the police operatives attached to the Rapid Response Squad on Friday. He said the operatives intercepted one Mohammed Isa of Kafanchan, Kaduna State, in a Toyota Hiace bus, conveying the 12 children comprising 4 males and 8 females. He said the underage children were being conveyed from Akwanga, Nasarawa State, to a destination which he said was later discovered to be Ogun State. According to him, preliminary investigation revealed that children trafficked by one Pastor Simon Kado and Jesse Simon Kado were between the ages of 5 and 16 years, all from Akwanga. The commissioner added that the suspects are now presently in police custody. And as Nigerians continue to lament the high cost of living in the country, mechanics and artisans in Jos, the Plateau State capital, are also decrying the impact of the crisis on their trades. According to them, the constant hike in prices of materials, diesel and premium motor spirit, PMS, has negatively impacted the services. Well, Trust TV's Adu Musa has more on the details.
The continuous fall of the naira against the dollar is significantly affecting the purchasing power of Nigerians, putting consumers in a difficult situation as prices of goods and services continue to skyrocket by the day. Like millions of other Nigerians, mechanics and artisans in Jos are lamenting that the situation is causing them to lose customers, thereby threatening their means of livelihood.
For the material, because the cost of the things of Nigeria. Now, for instance, the filler that we normally use is, before we bought it at the rate of 8,000 naira, but now is 26,000, 28,000. Times 2 for what we normally, times 10 for what we normally buy before. But that is what we are facing. Even the customers, when they come to you, if you talk to them that things are higher, none of them agree. We do lose many customers because of the times, because of the high price of the material. That is what we are having now.
Fixing car is our main source of livelihood. We provide services, but the recent high cost of living is significantly impacting our business because we are no longer having customers. The few motorists who manage to come to us often expect us to work for them on credit. As a result, we can no longer afford to provide food for our families. The high cost of living is threatening our jobs. If this continues, we are likely to be pushed out of business because people are now struggling to afford basic necessities like food, rather than buying doors or windows to build houses. In some cases, when we agree to work for a certain amount, by the time we purchase materials for the job, the prices have already increased, resulting in losses for us. It is a very challenging situation. Although the federal government is giving assurances of stabilizing the situation, the mechanics are calling on the government to take necessary action before the situation worsens. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Also, drivers and porters at Adamami Junction in Jama'ari local government area of Bauchi State have been lamenting the lingering economic crisis facing Nigerians. They disclosed this while reacting to the increase in the prices of essential commodities. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports.
Some drivers who spoke to Trust TV explained that the need to hike the price of intra and international state shuttles became imperative due to the present economic challenges. Before now, this tire was sold 12 to 14,000, but now it has shoot up to 40,000 naira. This car engine is now about 200,000 naira, while battery goes for 30,000 naira. We need God's intervention. The way things are right now, No driver can reduce transport fare because of the cost of petrol and maintenance of vehicles. To think that we are suffering what we have no hand in is very painful. Meanwhile, porters who depend on travelers for their daily income also lamented their dwindling fortunes and called on the government to quickly intervene before the situation gets out of hand. I work here as porter. If passengers come or marketers buy goods, we carry their luggage and get something in return. Right, it is very challenging. So we are praying that God will intervene. I call on the government to help the masses by reducing the prices of food items, because if you don't have food for the family, there is a big problem. We have little children who don't understand the meaning of lack, so we really need help. Recently, the federal government announced a short-term plan to address the current economic hardship through food supply for onward distribution to the vulnerable groups to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal and fall of the naira against the dollar in. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we take a look at the low standards threatening quality meat supply in Abuja abattoirs. There's and many more stories after the break. Join us again. Thank you for staying with the news hour on Trust TV. Now we'll look at our top stories again. Gunmen kill bus driver, kidnap passengers, abandon little girl along Ondo-Ekiti highway. FCT police arrest pastor, 2 others for alleged child trafficking. Rescue 12 children. Moving on to more stories now. The persistent increase in the price of maize has been identified as a threat to the survival of poultry farming in the north and the country at large, as many poultry farms are beginning to crumble due to the cost of maize. Poultry farmers, traders, as well as Kaduna residents who disclosed this to Trust TV says if the cost of foodstuff persists, it will make life more difficult for the common man in the country. Trust TV's Bello Musa has more on the report.
About 45.5% of maize produced in Nigeria is used to manufacture animal feed, and close to 98% of all animal feed produced in Nigeria is used by poultry farmers, with maize accounting for 60 to 65% of poultry feed constraints. However, the high cost of maize is making it less competitive for Nigerian poultry and livestock producers. Feed producers told us that the cost of maize and the soya beans are responsible for the surge in the price of feeds.
Increasement of the maize and even the fuel increasement, because the maize is the main major thing that is used to produce the feed. So due to the increase of the maize and other ingredient that is used to produce the feed, it has increased. And even the transportation that is used to import the goods, the maize. So everything just increased.
Maize is one of the major food ingredients with high consumption in Nigeria. However, the surge in its price is leading to food insufficiency among many Nigerians. It is difficult to get money, yet the price of maize and other foodstuffs keeps increasing on a daily basis. The government should do something about it.
I beg government who need help, who don't know where this problem come from. May they help us look for solution. Everybody are tired for crying.
The price is constantly increasing, leaving us in a very precarious position. We don't know what to do. Grain dealers at the cow market also cite certain factors responsible for the cost of maize. Security has contributed to the cost of maize. in Nigeria because farming has greatly been affected. Poultry farmers in Kaduna are appealing to the government to find ways of curbing the persistent surge in the price of maize, which is directly affecting poultry business with attendant lost jobs in the sector. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And away from the cost of living, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has reassured Nigerians that the battle against terrorism will be sustained until relative peace and safety across the entire country are achieved. President Tinubu gave the assurance during the trooping and presentation of colors at the 60th anniversary of the Nigerian Defense Academy. The president commended past and present leadership of the NDA for their efforts in attracting clientele from other African nations, noting that the quality of training at the academy is capable of ending banditry. The president acknowledged the sacrifices of Nigeria's fallen heroes who paid the ultimate price to defend the nation's sovereignty and promised to prioritize the welfare of the armed forces to carry out its constitutional responsibilities.
For us, these have consequently impacted positively on the image of the country. Therefore, it behoves us to cultivate an enabling environment of peace to attract prospective aid, not only from Africa, but from Europe and America as well. While the relative peace we have been able to secure is worthy of celebration. But we must remember that the war is not over yet until every parcel of land held by the enemy of the fire, an enemy of peace, is end, accountable, and Nigeria is free of terrorism and banditry.
President Bola Tinubu there at the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the Nigerian Defense Academy. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has declared Margaret Emefiele, the wife of former Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, and 3 others wanted for alleged involvement in money laundering activities. According to the EFCC, Margaret Emefiele, Eric Odo, Anita Omoile and her husband, Jonathan Omoile, are wanted for their roles in a scheme to convert large sums of money belonging to the federal government of Nigeria. The agency accuses them of committing offenses such as obtaining money under false pretenses, theft and contravening sections 411, sections 287 and 314 of the criminal law of Lagos State. A statement released by the EFCC late Friday night included mugshot portraits of the 4 suspects, urging anyone with information about their whereabouts to contact the nearest EFCC command and police station. This follows ongoing legal proceedings against Godwin Emefiele, who is facing charges of fraud amounting to 1.8 billion naira and $6.2 million. In another development, the National Examinations Council, NECO, has indefinitely postponed the 2024 staff promotion examination. The examination, which was scheduled to hold on the 14th and 15th of February in Minna, Niger State, has generated reactions. The exam body had directed its staff members eligible for promotion to appear at its headquarters from January 13th, 2024 to January 15th, 2024. However, the staff kicked against the development due to insecurity ravaging the country. A statement issued by the Acting Director, Directorate of Information and Digital Communication, Aziz Sani, on Friday, said the postponement was in compliance with the directive of the Committee on Basic Examination Bodies of the House of Representatives. Also, tension is rising among members of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, who are threatening a showdown with the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria over the new guidelines for verification of certificates. Nurses and midwives in the country had earlier in the week lamented the deactivation of the NMCN verification portal since December 2023. The nurses who spoke in separate interviews alleged that the deactivation of the portal by the council was an attempt to hinder their freedom to pursue career opportunities abroad. They also said it was not unconnected to the plan of the federal government to reduce the number of health workers traveling out of the country to seek greener pastures. In 2023, the NANNM said over 75,000 nurses and midwives left the country in 5 years to seek greener pastures abroad. And a petroleum products dealer based in Akure, the Ondo state capital, Sheson Adelabu, on Friday reportedly macheted his wife, Bolu Adelabu, to death at their residence at Alagbaka GRA area of the city. After killing his wife, Adelabu, popularly known as Emirate, the name of his retail outlet, was said to have committed suicide by drinking a poisonous substance suspected to be an insecticide. An officer of the Special Protection Unit from the A Division station in Akure attached to his residence on Friday evening received a distress call from the deceased son reporting the incident. On entering the house, the policeman discovered Adelabu's lifeless body on the floor in the toilet, while the remains of his wife was found on the bed with several matched cuts with an empty bottle of the insecticide on the floor. The remains of Adelabu and his wife have since been evacuated to the mortuary by the police. A release from the spokesperson of the Ondo State Police Command, SP Fumilayo Dunlami Omisanya, confirmed the incident. She noted that the State Commissioner of Police, Abayomi Oladipo, has ordered the homicide section of the State Criminal Investigation Department to take over the case. And the demand for meat as a go-to protein in meals for most Nigerian homes means the multi-billion naira industry remains a major contributor to food production within and outside the country. The state of abattoirs in Nigeria, however, leaves much to be desired, as unhealthy and substandard practices threaten to undermine the quality of meat due to poor supervision and standardization. In this report, Trust TV takes a look at the gaps and challenges impacting the industry. Take a look.
Meat as a major source of protein in many homes. In 2021, the total meat production in Nigeria reached over 1.4 million tons, a US-based data technology company, Neoma, had published. However, the question of how safe the meat processed in the country's various abattoirs is relies on effective meat inspection by veterinary doctors. The Meat Inspection Manual of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN stipulates that ante-mortem and post-mortem inspections should be carried out before and after slaughtering any animal to ensure that only wholesome meat is consumed, while the bad ones are condemned and dealt with accordingly. To check whether there is compliance, Trust TV went undercover in 3 out of the 4 abattoirs under the supervision of the Veterinary Service Department of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA. At the Karu Abattoir, Trust TV observed poor inspection and handling of meat that negates the FOA stipulation for meat inspection. In the abattoir, a suffocating stench of blood, tangled with dung and littered on the slaughter floor, hung heavy, a stench impossible to ignore. The production and consumption of hygienic and wholesome meat has a global relevance. That is why the World Organization for Animal Health and the Food Agriculture Organization, FAO, established operational norms for best practices in meat inspection, especially for developing countries. Meat not inspected can be dangerous, especially to the consumers of such meat, according to Dr. Sati Nglukun, the Director of Diagnostic Service Department at the National Veterinary Research Institute in VOM.
So if meat is not properly inspected, it means there is danger for consumers, because we know that there are quite a number of diseases that are transmitted from animals to humans.
In Kubwa, 4 meat inspectors were cited in the slaughterhouse, keeping a watch on the activities of the butchers. However, Trust TV observed that despite this strict inspection, meat is not properly handled, as some parts of the meat, especially the internal organs, were kept on the slaughter floor, which is stained with blood and dung. At the Gwagwalada Abattoir, even though these inspectors were seen carrying out their duties, the meat is also not properly handled. During Trust TV's visits to the Gwagwalada abattoir, a significant amount of meat which the vet said were infected with contagious bovine pneumonia, bovine tuberculosis, and hydronephrosis were condemned. Concerning this infection, Dr. Sati says while every standard abattoir should have a laboratory attached to it, some diseases can be transferred to consumers of infected meat.
A cow, for example, is infected with tuberculosis, and that meat is not properly inspected and it gets into the market, people can come down with tuberculosis.
Outside the slaughterhouse, animal hides and goats are roasted with scrap tires, a situation that has been reported to pose serious health concerns, especially the risk of cancer. Government abattoirs are under the supervision of the Veterinary Service Department of the FCTA. Reacting to the state of abattoirs in the FCT, Director of the Veterinary Service Department of the FCTA, Dr. Idris Ademo, attributed the situation to the age-long neglect and failure to upgrade and standardize abattoir operations, while noting that the operational system is still traditional.
The Director further said, through the administration's new policy on abattoir operational standard, platform for discussion with relevant stakeholders will be initiated to ensure new ways in salvaging the situation eminent in the FCT abattoirs. Isa Ismaila, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the news on Trust TV. The news continues after this break. Join us again. Welcome back. Aliko Dangote, renowned business magnate, has paid a courtesy visit to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf at the Kano State Government House. The meeting signified a commitment to collaboration in advancing the development agenda of Kano State. Both leaders shared a vision for progress and also prosperity. Take a look.
Areas of empowerment, how do we assist the government? Because the government cannot do it on its own. In terms of security, I think Kano is by far safer than almost all the northern states. But I think this does not mean that Excellency will relax. You know, most of these criminals, when you chase them from one state, they move to another state. But luckily for us, it has been a very safe haven here. And I want to assure you, Your Excellency, we will continue to support you, not only because that I'm from Kano, because I know that your intentions are good.
Let me equally seize this opportunity to thank you immensely for your numerous contributions and assistance to the good people of the state, especially the vulnerable people, people that needs assistance. You have done a lot for the state in the areas of education, as you mentioned, but more specifically in the areas of health and human capital development. We are all aware about your contributions to the health sector when you established a foundation with Bill and Melinda, in which you have been contributing, especially in the eradication of polio throughout the state.
Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and as well Aliko Dangote in Kano State. Meanwhile, the Corporate Affairs Commission has announced the registration of 2 million businesses in Nigeria. According to the Registrar General of the CAC, Hussaini Magaji, many of these businesses were operating without proper registration. The move aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's agenda to eradicate poverty and enhance youth employment in Nigeria. Trust TV's Chamun Tabeng reports.
The Corporate Affairs Commission reports that the registration of 2 million previously unregistered businesses is a significant step towards achieving President Tinubu's target of creating 50 million jobs. During a groundbreaking ceremony in Abuja, Registrar General Hussaini Magaji emphasized that this initiative aims to alleviate the burdens faced by young Nigerians striving to contribute economically to their nation.
Our determination to register 20 million businesses this year alone, 2024. CAC in their effort to enforce compliance, they went and recovered some businesses, small businesses taking place without registration. And we brought them in. We are targeting to register 20 million businesses this year alone. And this will attract revenue to the government and create a tax net or broaden the tax net of the country.
Addressing the gathering, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite, underscored the importance of leveraging information technology to drive economic growth.
And we've always known and we've always said it's only information technology that can revolutionize the way we do businesses, and that can also help us to get to the point where, to develop the economy to the point where we want to go. And as you all know, creating jobs and especially empowering entrepreneurship has been at the crux of the 8-point agenda, and even creating a level playing ground for everyone to participate in. And all of this then adds into the economic growth agenda that we're all talking about.
Dr. Uzoka-Anite affirmed the government's commitment to providing necessary funding for the project, emphasizing its potential to create employment opportunities and foster an enabling environment for business prosperity. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And on a sad note, Herbert Wigwe, the immediate past managing director of Access Bank and current chief executive officer of Access Holdings, is dead. Wigwe was reportedly on board a chopper with his wife, son, and 3 other passengers when the unfortunate incident happened at California. They were reportedly heading for Las Vegas to watch the Super Bowl, the annual league championship game of the National Football League, NFL, of the United States. The New York Times has confirmed the incident but kept the identities of the passengers. However, sources in the banking industry confirmed to Daily Trust that the bank chief was indeed on board the ill-fated aircraft. Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for Business Update.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has for the 3rd time this year increased the exchange rate for calculating customs duties at the nation's seaports to 1,417 naira 635 kobo to the dollar. According to information obtained from the official website of the Nigerian Customs Service, the exchange rate was reviewed upward on Friday, 9th February, from 1,413 naira 62 kobo to a dollar. This represents an increase of 4 naira 15 kobo and a percentage increase of 0.28%, which is below the official CBN exchange rate of 1,000 naira 481 naira 82 kobo to a dollar as of the morning of Saturday, February 10th, 2024. With the upward review, Nigerians will pay more to clear their goods at the port because import duties are benchmarked against the dollar. The current upward review of the exchange rate for calculating customs import duty is the 3rd in 1 week and also the 3rd in 2024. It is also the 7th time the Apex Bank has adjusted exchange in the space of 8 months since President Tinubu's administration commenced the floating naira policy, a reform aimed at stabilizing the forex market. The naira fell by 3.1% as dollar sales by banks maintained a steady decline 1 week after the Central Bank of Nigeria adjusted some foreign exchange policies to boost supply. Dollar sales by banks dropped by 56.58% to $253.77 million on Friday from the peak of $584.53 million on Monday, the first trading day after the CBN ordered banks to sell excess dollar in the official FX market. Cumulatively, commercial banks sold a total of $1.97 billion in 1 week, data collated from the FMDQ exchange indicated. The naira, which appreciated on Monday after the FX policy announcement, lost 3.41 of its value against the dollar for the 5 trading days in the week at the official market. The FX market ended with the dollar closing at 1,469 naira 97 kobo on Friday from 1,419 naira 86 kobo quoted on Monday, the first trading day of the week. And finally, in stocks, a total turnover of 2.478 billion shares worth 47.856 billion naira in 54,982 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the Nigerian exchange. The financial services industry, measured by volume, led the activity chart, followed by the conglomerates and oil and gas industries in second and third positions. The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 2.45% and 2.49% to close the week at 101,858.37 basis points and 55.735 trillion naira respectively. 20 equities appreciated in price during the week, with 68 equities depreciating while 66 remained unchanged. And that's it on business news. I am Chiamaka Wafo.
Thanks to Chiamaka for business. And on the international scene, Hungarian President Katalin Novak on Saturday announced her resignation following outrage sparked by a decision to pardon a man implicated in child sexual abuse case. Novak, a former minister for family policy, became the first woman to hold the essentially ceremonial role of president in March 2022. The controversy was sparked by the pardon given last April amid a visit by Pope Francis to Budapest to a former deputy director of a children's home who helped to cover up his boss who sexually abused kids and adolescents there. Since the independent news site 444 revealed the decision last week, the country's opposition has been calling for Novak's resignation. Or minutes after her announcement, another ally of Orban, Judith Varga, also announced her withdrawal from public life for having given her approval for the pardon as justice minister, a post she quit in order to lead a European Parliament election bid. And elsewhere, the body of a 6-year-old Palestinian girl missing for 12 days after an Israeli tank targeted the family car in Gaza has been found, along with the bodies of 2 medics dispatched to look for them. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society and the family of the girl, Hind Rajab, confirmed on Saturday that all 7 people inside the car were killed, with the Palestinian Relief Organization saying it lost crew members Yusuf Zino and Ahmed Al-Madoun in the Israeli attack on civilians in Gaza City. Family members found Hind's body along with those of her uncle and aunt and their 3 children near a roundabout in the city's Tal al-Hawa suburb. The Palestinian news agency Wafa reported. Another of Hind's uncles, Sami Hamideh, said the car was peppered with bullet holes. The Israeli army had earlier said it was not aware of the incident. The PRCS had started a count of the number of hours since it lost contact with Hind and the crew in trying to attract attention to the plight of Palestinian healthcare workers who persist under constant attacks by the Israeli army. And away from the international scene to sports now, Adeni Ajishafe now stands by for updates.
The 2024 annual Lagos City Marathon has once again been dominated by East African runners. Bernard Sang of Kenya on Saturday emerged winner in the men's category, clocking a time of 2 hours, 16 minutes, 49 seconds to win the $50,000 prize money. Sang, 32, is the latest Kenyan to win the annual competition dominated by East African country, who won in 2016, 2017, 2020, and 2021. His compatriots Sheprot and Edwin Kipto came second and third in another dominant display by the Kenyans. Ethiopian 25-year-old Kebene Chala was the first woman to get to the finish line at the 2024 Lagos City Marathon. This year's edition of the marathon had over 81 world-class elite runners competing for the top prize. And in football, the Nigerian Cardiac Society on Saturday cautioned Nigerians to avoid getting overly excited during sporting events. The warning is coming ahead of the final match of the ongoing African Cup of Nations between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire. The society, in a statement in Ilorin, Kwara State capital on Saturday, jointly signed by Augustine Odili, the national president, Chizindu Alinko, and Abiodun Akitide, Secretary General, and Public Secretary of the Society, communicated with the families of those whose death was linked to the semi-final match played on Wednesday. The Society, however, warned that sports and other emotional events can trigger arrhythmias, heart attacks, and strokes in those with underlying heart conditions. The expert explained that many risk factors are prevalent among Nigerians, adding that most of the risks are poorly controlled. They describe sudden death as a natural, unexpected fatal event occurring within an hour from the onset of symptoms in a healthy subject. And still on football, ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations final, President Bola Tinubu has directed Vice President Kashim Shettima to lead a presidential team to Côte d'Ivoire for the crunchy game between the Super Eagles and the Elephants of Côte d'Ivoire on Sunday. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkocha, said President Tinubu believes that Shettima's presence at the finals alongside the delegation is a testament of the government's unwavering support for the team and its dedication to their success. He said the federal government has also called on all Nigerians, both at home and abroad, to unite in support of the Super Eagles and to raise their voices in encouragement while creating a wave of national pride that propels the team to glory. The Vice President represented the President at the semi-finals when Super Eagles defeated Bafana of South Africa. The Nigerian national team will on Sunday take on host Côte d'Ivoire at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium in Abidjan. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Well, that's the news. But just before we go, the Media Trust ladies during Saturday's bonding time joined a trending TikTok challenge. Take a look.
So we are jumping on the Of Course We're Journalists challenge at our Media Trust group Women Bonding Activity. So, of course we're journalists. Come with us.
I'm a journalist. Of course, we are first with breaking news. I'm a journalist. Of course, I know something about everything and everything about something.
I'm a broadcast journalist. Of course, sometimes whilst taking the news, I make mistakes. I'm only human. I'm not AI. Please.
I'm a journalist and a lawyer. Of course, I protect the interest of the public.
Of course, I'm a journalist. I talk to myself in the mirror all the time.
I'm a journalist. Of course, I see to it that everyone's need is met before they leave the office. I'm a journalist in brand marketing. Of course, I promote the image of the organization.
I'm a journalist. Of course, I work on weekends and public holidays and even festive periods. But on rare occasions, I get to bond with my colleagues.
I'm a journalist. Of course, I need to go out every day to ask customers to subscribe to our daily newspaper.
I'm an investigative journalist, and of course, I sometimes like to delve into troubled waters.
I am a journalist. Of course, we are the most liveliest and resourceful people you can ever meet.
I'm a journalist and a marketer. Of course, I'm an advert executive who sources for money for my organization.
I'm a journalist. Of course, I do investigation more than the police.
I'm a journalist. Of course, as the Chief Human Resource Officer of the company, I take care of all of them.
And on that note, we wrap up the news hour tonight. Do well to follow us across all of our social platforms and join our live stream on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Have a good night.